Hello everyone, from pencil, pen, paint, digital, or any other mediums. How's your day so far? Mine's been great. So today, as you've probably read from the title, I will be drawing the Horseman of Famine and Death. Disclaimer again, I'm not here to preach any theological claims. I am just here to have fun with character designs using the Book of Revelation as my inspiration. And with that, let's get started with the Horseman of Famine. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature call out, "Come." I looked, and there was a black horse. Its rider held a pair of scales in his hand, and I heard what seemed to be a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a day's pay, and 3 quarts of barley for a day's pay, but do not damage the olive oil and wine." With this horseman, well, actually both of them, I took more creative freedom because I wanted to try stronger and more expressive poses and facial expressions. I may be a bit unoriginal with this one since while I was looking for inspiration for these drawings, I saw Lavender Town's video. Her video's link is in the description below if you want to check it out, by the way. And when she talked about famine, she emphasized how she thought that famine isn't all about hunger and locusts like we see in media, but rather it was also about how the most basic resources become very expensive, but luxurious resources become very affordable and cheap. So, leaning onto that idea, I gave her a lot of golden accessories, necklace, a gold weighing scale, rings, this gold plate thing on her waist. Looking back, since this character had many golden accessories, maybe I should have given her a gold tooth, but eh. Again, I drew the sketch traditionally for more freedom. Digitally sketching with my hands is just not it. And then I resketched it digitally to make it cleaner. And then after that we get to line art. Line art helps me indicate the lighting scenario that I want. In this case, I want the light to be above the character, and so the thick parts are facing down and the less dark parts of the line art are facing up, of course. I gave her a weighing scale above her head, kind of like a horn. I didn't really know where to put it. Of course, the description did say that he was holding it, but I wanted to be a bit more creative with it, so a horn it is. Then, since famine is also kind of related to poverty, I gave her this rugged clothes, and I think because of that, she became probably the most revealing character in this series that I've drawn so far. Um, I wanted to expand more on facial expressions, so I gave her this very wide smile. I think I also did a pretty good job with the colors as well, because I think gold and yellows and black go together very well, and I think it's a perfect combination for this horseman. After the flat colors with gradients, you know the drill. Big to small shadows, a big multiply layer above all of it, erase some light parts for emphasis, a color burn and add layer on top of the face, some filters, and we're pretty much done here. Reveal is at the end the video, so stay tuned for that. When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature call out, "Come." I looked, and there was a pale green horse. Its rider's name was Death, and Hades followed with him. They were given authority over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword, famine, and pestilence, and by the wild animals of the earth. And finally, we get to the last horseman in this series, the Horseman of Death. Let me tell you, I really went all out with this character. I think she's probably the horseman that I took the most creative freedom with, because other than the color theme, green, I followed almost none of the description for this horseman. I decided to be a little more silly with this one. I had her pulling this poor, poor little soul, and it's just absolutely terrified of her. I just wanted to give this one a bit of a different vibe, since the past three horsemen were super serious, so I wanted this one to be a bit silly, to have more movement and activity. Death is also often called the Grim Reaper, especially in modern media, and a Reaper is just basically a farmer, but a Grim Reaper is basically just harvesting souls instead of crops. So I decided to connect that more to the farmers of my home country, the Philippines. Farmers, as I usually see them here, have this circular organic hat, and they usually wear long sleeves and plain long pants and boots. And inside those long sleeves are any shirt of any color, of any design, or sometimes they're just plain with no design. The long sleeves are often checkered or just plain colors. I made the long sleeve checkered because I wanted it to be a bit more interesting, and the shirt inside the long sleeve has this reddish slash orange color, just plain, no designs at all. The hat also, I decided to be like a witch's hat because I wanted to stylize it more. Green outer color and the same reddish color inside. Of course, it can't be a Grim Reaper without the iconic scythe, so I gave her a scythe. But this one is a bit more accurate to the scythe that farmers use to harvest crops, other than the iconic big scythe that Grim Reapers wield in movies. I just, again, creative freedom. And that's pretty much all for her design. For shading, you'll know already, same big to small shadows technique, multiply layer on top, and filters for polishing. And with that, the Horseman of Death is finished. On to the final reveal. And as always, I will let you decide their names. Just put your suggestions below in the comments. I also want to apologize for the long wait. I've been very busy with my studies lately, but I'll try to post more often now. Thank you so much for tuning in until the end. I'll see you next time, and keep doodling. Bye!